Hi, sorry. Guess it's time for another speeding bulletin. Well, here's what happened in the world of Superman for the week November 8th to November 14th, 2013. A week in which Warner Brothers hosted a Man of Steel live fan event. Man of Steel was released to Blu-ray and DVD in the USA and Canada. And we launched our 13th annual Shield Awards. Let's jump in and take a look at these stories and more. In movie news, Man of Steel is now available on Blu-ray and DVD in the USA and Canada. Warner Brothers released a sizzle reel promotion video to celebrate the release. Take a look.
Goodbye, my son. Our hopes and dreams travel with you.
New on Blu-ray Combo Pack and Digital HD.
You're the answer, son. You're the answer to Are We Alone in the Universe?
The truth about you is beautiful. We knew that one day the whole world would see that.
The Blu-ray Combo Pack includes a Blu-ray, a DVD, bonus content, plus Digital HD.
You've got our attention.
And get ready for director Zack Snyder to take you on a journey behind the movie that forged the new Man of Steel.
Even for me as a filmmaker and student of comic books, Superman was that golden god. It's kind of a cool angle.
Learn how they made the massive action sequences.
I can do things that other people can't.
Decode the technology of Krypton. With nearly 4 hours of extras, there's so much to explore.
It's gonna change everything.
What's the S stand for?
It's not an S. On my world, it means hope.
You believe your son is safe?
I will find him!
You've grown stronger than I ever could have imagined.
Man of Steel. Own the Blu-ray or Digital HD.
The Man of Steel live fan event took place on Yahoo Movies on Saturday morning, November 9th. It was a celebration of the release of Man of Steel on Blu-ray, and it was hosted by Kevin Smith, who interviewed Amy Adams and Zack Snyder, with Henry Cavill joining in via satellite uplink. There were many nuggets of behind-the-scenes thoughts and info throughout, with one of my own video questions about the Kryptonian Codex skull answered by Zack Snyder. While there wasn't much about the upcoming Superman-Batman movie, Snyder did hint at Lex Luthor's involvement and then showed off artwork which will be auctioned off to help raise funds for the We Can Be Heroes charity. Newsarama.com caught up with Paul Hemstreet, the SVP of Special Features at Warner Brothers, and asked him all about the process behind putting together the bonus material included in the Man of Steel Blu-ray and DVD collection. He said the journey into discovery creating Man of Steel, where you get to watch the movie with Zack Snyder, is a great experience. He says, I think this one is the richest one we've done. Man of Steel quickly jumped to the top of the iTunes downloads charts soon after its release. Man of Steel currently sits at number 1 on iTunes in both the American and Canadian markets, with the UK set to see the movie released on December 2nd. RollingStone.com interviewed actor Christopher Maloney, in which he discusses playing Colonel Nathan Hardy in Man of Steel. As for his line, "A good death is its own reward," he said, everyone knew that this line had to have a certain distinct thing to it, so we toyed with a million different emotions and inflections and thoughts and feelings. In this week's edition of DC All Access, Zack Snyder and Kevin Smith spoke about the upcoming Superman-Batman movie, with Snyder indicating that he is not using Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns graphic novel as the basis for the film. In his own podcast, Hollywood Babble On, Kevin Smith indicated that Zack Snyder pulled him aside after the Man of Steel live fan event and showed him images on his phone of Ben Affleck as Batman. From all indications, the bat suit is inspired by the comic book designs of either Lee Bermejo or Jim Lee. At the start of the week, Variety claimed to have received the names of other women who have also tested for the female role everyone's been talking about for the upcoming Superman-Batman movie. Sources tell Variety that Fast and Furious actress Gal Gadot and G.I. Joe Retaliation theft Elodie Yung have or will test for the female lead, which appears to be the role of Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman. The recent Nightwing rumour now has an actor's name attached to it, with Girls star Adam Driver rumoured to be the frontrunner to take on the role, while rumours are circulating around the role of Lex Luthor once again, with Terry O'Quinn and Jackie Earle Haley both having reportedly tested for the role. The unofficial Facebook Man of Steel fan page has discovered that the code name for the upcoming Superman-Batman movie is Sage and Milo. Casting has been done under this name and test shoots are beginning in LA under this name as well. Who is Sage and who is Milo is up for debate. A sage is a wise old man, while the name Milo is for someone who is a leader, has confidence and discipline. Google Play posted a video of Chris Nolan and legendary director Richard Donner in conversation discussing Superman the movie, casting decisions and much more. Here's a snippet from the video.
They had written, this previous screenplay had written out any sense of its own reality. And it was embarrassing for Superman. I was brought up on Superman. I knew Superman, and I sat down and said, they're going to kill, they're going to destroy a myth, an American fable. Not that we have that many. And I think that's one of the reasons I took it, to create its sense of reality within its own framework. We tried to stay as close to the Bible as possible, as close to Superman, its history, to Siegel and Schuster, who had written it.
In TV news, to celebrate its 100th episode, Mad got supersized with an animated sketch comedy poking fun at the movie Man of Steel. This episode of Mad aired on Cartoon Network in USA on Monday, November 11th. Dean Cain, best known to Superman fans for his role in Lois and Clark, will be a special guest at the 2014 Niagara Falls Comic Con being held in January. The Niagara Falls Comic Con will take place from June 6th to June 8th at the Scotiabank Convention Centre, Niagara Falls. Visit niagarafallscomiccon.com for further details. Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, joins Tim and Sam Daly on The Daily Show for a special Batman vs Superman edition. It's hilarious, check it out if you haven't done so already. Actually, watch it again anyway. In comic book news, the Superman homepage Ask Eddie fan forum is back. Eddie Berganza, DC Comics editor of the Superman comic books, returned to answer your questions about the Superman comic books. Come by the site now to check out what he had to say to questions put to him by fellow Superman fans this past month. DC Comics released their February 2014 solicitations, and we highlighted for you all the Superman related comics and products listed. Of special note was Batman Superman number 8, in which the world's finest team of two worlds meet up at last in Chapter 1 of First Contact, with Power Girl's abilities on the fritz. See what happens when her long-lost cousin Superman approaches her. And Superman Lois Lane number 1, in which Lois Lane is known for chasing down stories, but what happens when the story is her family. ComicVine.com spoke exclusively with Marguerite Bennett about her upcoming Superman Lois Lane number 1 one-shot. She said, "The story I hope to tell is one prominently about two women and their relationship, the love, the bitterness, loyalty, ambition and regret that comes from living in two worlds." Newsarama.com sat down with writer Scott Lobdell to get an inside look at what he has planned for Superman, Supergirl and Superboy in the Krypton Returns saga currently running through the Superman family of comic books. He said what Superman is going to learn, and it is going to be a while before it becomes clear to him, so settle down for the long haul, is that being right and doing the right thing isn't always the choice. Blue Water Productions is releasing two new comic book biographies on two legendary men of steel, Christopher Reeve and George Reeves. Tribute Christopher Reeve was released this week, while the George Reeves tribute comic will hit shelves in January. Comixology is holding a special Grant Morrison Superman sale, selling 40 or more must-have comics written by the superstar writer for just 99 cents each. The sale ends November 18th, so get in quick. Superman comic books we reviewed this week included Action Comics number 25, which was reviewed by Michael Bailey, who gave it a 4 out of 5, saying, "Greg Pak delivered a solid story that showed a pivotal moment in this Superman's life." Forever Evil number 3 was also reviewed by Michael Bailey, who said, "The highlights of the issue was the fight between the Rogues and the combined force of Deathstorm and Power Ring." And he gave it a 4 out of 5 as well. Batman Superman number 5 was reviewed by Michael J. Petty, who gave it a 4 out of 5, saying, "It actually pains me not to give this issue a full-on 5 out of 5. MJ also reviewed Smallville Titans Chapter 3, giving it a 5 out of 5, saying, "Words cannot express how much I actually love this story." Sean Morrissey handed in a very emotional review of Adventures of Superman Chapter 28, calling it sweet, heartwarming and beautiful, and he gave it a 5 out of 5. Earth 2 number 17 was reviewed by T.A. Hewitt, who gave it a 3 out of 5, saying, "Brutal is every bit his namesake." And from last week, Michael Bailey reviewed Action Comics Annual number 2, saying, "I don't have high hopes for how this story is going to play out," and he gave it a 3 out of 5. Superman comics available this week from November 13th include Adventures of Superman Chapter 29 digital comic has been available since November 11th. Injustice Gods Among Us Annual number 1. Smallville Season 11 number 19 print edition. Superboy number 25. Superman Wonder Woman number 2, which is available in a variant cover, a digital combo pack, and a black and white variant cover. Smallville Alien number 1 digital comic will be available November 15th. Injustice Gods Among Us hardcover volume 1. Superman Files hardcover. And the Superman Wonder Woman The Kiss statue is out this week as well. These limited edition folding screens are great for dividing space, shading windows or doors, or hiding a work in progress, while also doubling as a stylish decorative background for your room. Get the tall double-sided Superman number 1 canvas room divider for just $85. What about a 6-foot tall double-sided Justice League room divider, yours for $115? These and other Superman and Justice League room dividers are available from your one-stop Superman shop, the Superman homepage online store at supermanhomepage.com/shop. In other news, the Superman homepage is pleased to announce our 13th annual awards ceremony for the world of Superman, the Shield Awards, which gives you, the fans, the opportunity to voice your opinion about comics with a 2013 cover date, Superman-related movies, TV shows and Superman merchandise released in 2013. By voting in the 2013 Shield Awards, you automatically go into the draw for a chance to win a Walmart exclusive Man of Steel Blu-ray Steelbook, so get voting. In May 2014, DC Collectibles will release 2 different Superman pool cues, produced in partnership with McDermott, the leading manufacturer of billiard and pool cues. They may not turn you into a champ, but you'll look every bit the pool hall hero playing with these new Superman cues from DC Collectibles. Each Superman cue comes with its own case and will sell for around $200. And that's all the Superman news there was for the week, November 8th to November 14th. I'm Steve Younis from supermanhomepage.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone and welcome to another fabulous episode of Great Scott. So this past Saturday saw the Man of Steel live fan event on yahoomovies.com. We have a link to it on the Superman homepage, probably about page 2 or 3. If you're checking out the news, there's been lots of news about Superman related stuff, so you can check that out. Or you can also just go right to Yahoo Movies, and I think it's still playing there. Right after it played, it started right at noon on the dot. Kevin Smith was hosting. Zack Snyder was there live. Amy Adams was there. I'm not sure where exactly they were filming, but they were in a nice little studio set up to look like an apartment or something. And Henry Cavill was also on, but he was on live via satellite, and everybody mainly Kevin Smith, kept saying how uncomfortable it was because he just had to have him sitting there waiting until they were ready to go to him, and he wished that he could have been there live in the studio. But Henry Cavill was in London celebrating Remembrance Day and whatever else he might have been doing there. I know he's working on Man from U.N.C.L.E., but I don't think they're filming there. And what I find interesting about, of course, Henry Cavill's position right now is it does seem like he's getting some work. You know, Brandon Routh seemed to have some difficulty after playing the Man of Steel, and of course the movie Superman Returns wasn't really, you know, received with a lot of fanfare. There was a lot of complaints about it. There's been a lot of complaints about Man of Steel as well, but it made a lot of money at the box office. It's currently number 1, I think, on the downloads charts for movies. Since it's come out, it shot up in maybe iTunes or something like that, wherever you buy movies. But it's doing really well. It did really well. It's kind of being celebrated as a great movie in some areas, and some people are saying it's not such a great movie. You get that whole destruction thing and too much explosions, too much action. But here's the thing with Man of Steel, for me, and the reason that I think I said that it was the best superhero movie I've ever seen, and that is that it's a real serious take on what it might be like if Superman came to Metropolis or Earth, and if Superman was here when some other Kryptonians came and wanted to kill him and take over the world. there is going to be a lot of damage. There is going to be a lot of destruction. It's not like Superman could stop the whole squad of them without fighting them. Maybe in other stories, maybe in other movies, you know, in the Donner movies, they had that MacGuffin where he could lose his powers because his mom said, "Oh, you want to live as immortal, with immortal, you must be immortal." You know, but not anything that's ever really been in the canon. Not anything that's from comics. Something they made up because they wanted to have a way that he could defeat these other superpowered beings. Because generally, if you have a whole squad or even 3 Kryptonians that are just as powerful as you are and you're all invulnerable, how could you ever stop them? You couldn't. They would take over the world and destroy it. So in the Lester completed Donner film, Superman 2, they had to have that chamber that he could go into and therefore remove his powers, and it was setting us up. It was foreshadowing to what he would do with the Kryptonians when the time came. And what he did then, of course, was switch it around, which how is that even possible? But okay. And he had Lex Luthor trick them into not going in there and sending Superman in, so Superman was safe in there while they were exposed to the light that took their powers away. Now that was a way to handle it, and I guess I could see, you know, maybe him having a Phantom Zone projector, or them kind of going into it a little further, and even after the Phantom Zone closed, in conjunction with the World Engine and the scout ship or whatever, then maybe he had something else. But again, that would be another MacGuffin. That would be another magical plot device that they could use to suddenly make it easy. And once the Phantom Zone was closed in the movie, there was no other way to there was no other way for either Zod to subdue Superman or Superman to subdue Zod unless it came to killing. And we all know we don't want Superman to kill, and of course that goes back to the comics code, and they just decided DC comic characters weren't going to kill. And in this case, I think the writers wrote Superman into a situation where he had to do what he did in order not only to save those people that were in immediate danger, but to stop this from going on. So to everyone who keeps complaining that there was so much destruction and Superman should have done something about it, he did do something about it. He fought Zod to a standstill, and in the end had to snap his neck, which is sad to have to say, maybe, that Superman had to do that. And you could see that it saddened him and it anguished him, and it wasn't something that he wanted to do. Anyway, this was supposed to be about the live fan event. I just wanted to tell Kevin Smith I too can wear a jersey of Superman and host a show. So call me if you ever need any hosting help. I also like mine because it's actually a Superman one and not an Islanders jersey that I stuck a plate on. He says that they actually gave that to him from the production of Man of Steel, and that he then put it on there after that, but who knows? You know, on his own podcast this week called Hollywood Babble, Kevin Smith indicated that he had seen images of Ben Affleck as Batman in the Batman suit, and that the suit made him so happy that he bear hugged Snyder right away. He also mentioned that, you know, since the X-Men movies and Matrix, everybody wanted to go all black and Matrixy, and that's not what this is. So what that makes me think is that maybe we're finally getting the gray and black or gray and blue Batman costume that I've wanted since they started making Batman movies. And I also hope they do the whited out eyes, where you can't see, you know, a demon's not very scary if you can see his human eyes looking sad underneath. So the white eyes, the glazed over white eyes, the filter, or even glowing, would be good, better than seeing his human eyes underneath. And maybe that's a problem for actors. Maybe they want their eyes to be seen, but it works for Spider-Man, and I love those Spider-Man costumes, so I think that the white eyes would be a good thing. In the live event, everybody was kind of speculating that there would be some huge giveaway about the new movie, and there really wasn't. So if you're watching it for that, don't even bother. But it was good to watch. It was a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. It was a lot of how did you get into your characters for Amy Adams, for Henry Cavill. It was a lot of how did you do this movie for Snyder. There's a lot of good stuff there. The only thing they really did mention about the new movie is toward the end of the interview, Snyder said, we are going to have some conflicts between Batman and Superman. It only makes sense, right? Because they're two different characters and they have two different ways of going about crime fighting, this kind of thing. And what he said was, so there's going to be a lot of personality conflict, and we will also have some physical conflicts as well. Uh-oh. I'm not sure exactly how that will play out. I mean, a physical conflict between Batman and Superman should be like, hey, I'm Batman. Ow! I'm Superman and you're down. End. So maybe it'll be something like that. Maybe they'll try and use the thing from the Superman-Batman animated movie from the Superman-Batman series back in the 90s when, you know, Superman went to grab Batman and he did some sort of flip and actually took Superman down. which I didn't even like then, but the idea is Batman's trained and Superman isn't. But if you can't move a man because he's so strong, how could you flip him? But I guess he used his own momentum against him or whatever. They could do something like that, but I mean, in the end, if Batman wanted to take out Superman, it really couldn't be done. Even with kryptonite, I always say any person with any rudimentary intelligence could know to avoid a rock that's glowing that kills you. And once it starts to make you weak and you have super speed, just move out of the way. So there are many different ways that they can do battling with Batman and Superman, but, you know, on DC's All Access, the latest one this week, Zack Snyder and Kevin Smith were talking about it again, and Zack Smith made it clear once again that they are not they're not actually adapting Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Rises, but I guess they are, The Dark Knight Returns, but I guess they are using some inspiration from that, from, I guess, some of their personality and some of what's going on. And of course we have some more, and we'll continue to have more as the movie goes on until we get told officially. Casting rumors, we don't even know yet if Lex Luthor is in the movie. Seems to make sense that he could be. I know a guy who did a Lex Luthor audition / video not too long ago, where in my mind he did it the way I would like to see Lex Luthor introduced in the movie, as a multimillionaire businessman who kind of is trying to play the crowd with charm and intelligence and wit and ideas and xenophobia, and maybe turn them, whoever might be kind of leaning one way a little bit, turn them against Superman. You're always going to have the people who are Superman, 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 and you're always going to have the people who are like, I don't know about Superman. Then you're going to have people who are like, I don't like aliens in this town. And of course, Luthor is trying to play to the middle ones and to the end ones, the ones that don't like aliens at all and that are afraid, and of course the ones who just aren't sure. And, I would put that guy's name into the hat, hint, hint, if anybody's listening, Zack Snyder or anyone else. But the latest two, I guess, from the old, here's a semi-famous bald guy that should probably be playing Lex Luthor, Terry O'Quinn from the series Lost. He played a good guy who kind of went to being a bad guy because he got infected with some kind of evil. I'm sure he could do it. He's a little older for the role. I like to see a Lex Luthor who's maybe a few years older than Superman, or about the same age as Clark. But Terry O'Quinn's probably 30 years older than Henry Cavill, which is still okay if you're going for the older businessman Lex. I like the younger one, the one who's a self-made guy who maybe killed his parents, maybe didn't, in order to get his businesses started. And the other rumor is one of Zack Snyder's old pals from the Watchmen movies, Jackie Earle Haley, who played Rorschach, is supposedly rumored now to be playing. Again, someone also shouted at me, Tom Hanks, not too long ago, that he was also rumored. I haven't heard any official, yes, we're looking at these people, or yes, we have Lex Luthor in the movie, so don't get too excited, but that's about what's going on right now, and the live event is definitely worth watching. It's not live anymore, but it's still playing. I'm pretty sure you can find it on yahoomovies.com. Check it out if you want to. It has a lot of good behind-the-scenes stuff, and of course, Man of Steel is out. Steve and I are going to be doing some commentary you guys can listen to while you watch the film coming up, and we'll have other stuff covering the behind-the-scenes things and the making-ofs and all that stuff over the next few weeks. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And remember not only to keep your bat shark repellent handy, but to always look up in the sky.